So the Indian Air Force has just welcomed its newest members into squadron service. This is the CH-47Fi Chinook helicopter. A very familiar sight all around the world. It's a workhorse for many countries, and now the Indian Air Force calls this very unique helicopter a part of its own operational fleet. Now 4 helicopters have been delivered on an order of 15 helicopters, and there may be more beyond that. But why is the Indian Air Force Chief calling the Chinook a game changer? Now remember, some of these helicopters will be based in Chandigarh, another bunch of these helicopters will be based in Assam for the China border. Now these are tandem rotor helicopters. That's the first thing you notice when you see the Chinook. It doesn't look like an ordinary helicopter. It actually has 2 main rotors along its body, which gives it an enormous amount of lift, an enormous amount of lifting power to actually carry a lot of troops or equipment, and the ability to fly with meaningful loads even in high altitude spaces, which is exactly what India actually needs. So from Chandigarh or from Dinjan in Assam, these helicopters will be able to transport troops, equipment, vehicles, fuel, pretty heavy, meaningful loads to high altitude bases, places like Siachen, Ladakh, the forward areas along the China border, in Arunachal Pradesh, etc. So these are highly flexible helicopters that will give Indian Air Force pilots a huge logistical advantage because they're easy to fly, can carry meaningful payloads at these very high altitude areas. Part 2, the fact is that Chinook isn't just a simple logistical or cargo helicopter. It's a multi-role helicopter, which means it can easily be configured. The modular interiors mean it can quickly be transformed from just a cargo helicopter into one that can carry vehicles or fuel pallets, or it can become it can carry hospital beds in the event of evacuations of battle casualties. Of course, it will be very important in humanitarian missions for rescue and relief operations. Now these are extremely flexible helicopters in the sense that because they've got these 2 big main rotors, they can land with just their rear ramp on extremely small surfaces. So you don't need a huge helipad like a conventional helicopter. These can land with just their back wheels touching either a hill, a hillside, or a very small roof of a house that may be sticking out of a flooded area, to rescue people or to deliver any kind of equipment or relief material. So in terms of humanitarian missions, this is going to be an absolute game changer. And remember, as you've seen since the Kerala floods, the Chennai floods, currently with the Indian Navy in Mozambique, in Africa as well, the Indian military is always deployed in some kind of humanitarian mission. So in that sense, these helicopters are going to be very useful. In terms of transporting equipment to inaccessible areas, once again, these helicopters will be very, very useful. None of the current helicopters that the Indian Air Force operates can conduct those pinpoint precision landing operations because of the way conventional helicopters are actually constructed. The Chinook, like I said, is a modular helicopter. It's a multi-role helicopter. Apart from logistics, apart from humanitarian missions, it will be also possibly used for special operations, to carry commandos into hostile airspace, flying very low, keeping things as low observable as possible. Another very key important possibility with this is the addition of a weapon system, or like a machine gun to this particular helicopter converts it very easily into a gunship as well. That's something that the Indian Air Force has done with some of its other helicopters, but this is something that is easily possible with the Chinook. So as far as logistics is concerned, this is going to definitely be a game changer. 2 squadrons, one in the east, one in the north, is where this will operate. Many parts of the Chinook are already built in India. For example, the tail cone, the ramp, some of the pylons are already built in India by companies like Tata Advanced Systems Limited. So there are significant parts of the Chinook, not just the Indian ones, but ones that are bought by other countries in the world, that are already built in India, and more of the Chinook may actually be. So there are over 850 Chinooks currently in operation, most of those in operation with the United States, which have made it a very, very recognizable platform, especially in conflict areas. It is in service with many countries around the world as well, and has been in service for over 50 years, but that doesn't mean it's an old helicopter. It just means it's a very proven helicopter that has been successfully and progressively improved, and the one that the Indian Air Force has inducted now happens to be the CH-47Fi, which will be the most advanced version of the Chinook yet put into service.